This is part 2 of my CDT series. So I finished up with the last section getting into Pie Town, which is a quirky little town. And this next section is 37-ish miles of road walking down a gravel road out of town. So here we go. Wrapping up my 16th day out here. Right now I'm in an enormous field, about 25 miles north of Pie Town. Today's hiking consisted of 25 miles of walking along the same dirt road, or mostly gravel to be more accurate. Feet are tired, got rained on for at least 3 hours. I think I was walking in the same direction as a shower that was passing through, so I kind of like just walked with the cloud raining on me for a while. But it's alright, I'm all dry now. But let me pan around so you can kind of see. I tried to pick a spot that's not going to bother anybody. Over where that cow fence is, the road is on the near side of that. I am finally back on some real trail. It's been just a hair shy of 37 miles of road walking over the last 2 days. So I'm definitely glad to be back on some dirt. This was a really unique section of trail because it starts to go through lava fields. So there was a whole bunch of this sort of volcanic rock and caves and tubes and all sorts of neat stuff that I'm not used to being in. This hole is particularly neat. It's like a really big hollow area in there. I talked with somebody who was on the CDT last year, and they didn't get a single day of rain until they were in Colorado. And I've been rained on twice in the last 2 days, and there's definitely showers over there and over there. And not so much the other directions, but I guess I have to roll the dice and see if that stuff's coming my way or not. I guess it's really good to reduce the likelihood of fire closures. Well, it's not looking good. There's rain falling in a giant line all the way across the horizon. So staying dry is out. Now I just have to hope that some of the heavier spots don't go over where I'm at. So it's still raining. But I wanted to show that volcano behind me, which I believe is pronounced... Oh, wait. The volcano's name should be Cerro Brillante. That's about an 8,000 foot tall volcano. Okay, rain, you can stop now. The water is full. It's overflowing. Look at this bold little baby cottontail. It's only 4 feet away from me. Super cute. Well, it's been maybe exactly 12 minutes since I started walking, and it started to sprinkle into a light shower. So I guess when it rains, it pours. Well, it's the 4th day in a row that I'm getting rained on, but right now it's just a little shower. And I just got to the Bandera volcano and ice caves, and they do have cabins in here for $70 a night that have electricity and a real bed. So I'm treating myself after 4 wet days in a row of getting out of it. This is the ice cave. And so, oh yeah, definitely right here, instantly cold. Much, much colder. Like, yeah, right now I'm below freezing, I'm sure of it. So what the pamphlet that I read was talking about was that this cavern here never gets above 31 degrees ever, even on the hottest summer days. So it's a pocket for all the cold air to sink into. And so it was saying that the greenness from this ice actually comes from algae of some kind. And that for a while they would harvest the ice out of here and use it as a natural ice maker, which is pretty wild for something that's in New Mexico. But they were claiming that some of the oldest ice in here is believed to be over 3,400 years old, and that the Native Americans took full advantage of this kind of resource, which is pretty awesome. Very cool, literally. So they warn you about the storms in the Colorado and grizzly bears, rattlesnakes, mountain lions, all the other scary things out here, but I definitely didn't have any idea that I'd have to worry about World War II bombs while backpacking. So it's officially the 3-week mark today of my trip, and that is stunning to me. It feels like time has been flying by. I came into Grants yesterday on Saturday, the 20th, pretty early because I had a package at the post office and they closed at noon, but I didn't think about that until I was all packed up about 14 miles away from the post office, so I had to power walk it. So I averaged 4.2 miles per hour over 3.5 hours and was able to get there maybe 20 minutes before they closed. So this is the second time going down the drag, and this is at a much more comfortable pace, although with a much heavier pack because I fully reloaded and carrying all the water I'll need for today. So I just had a pretty sizable climb up from the road out of Grants, and I get a good view back at Grants. So over these bushes in that cholla is the little hotel district, and you can see it's pretty barren for a long time. And then you have the spread out town, and then you can see the road that the trail takes out of town. I'm on the Taylor alternate trying to head up to the top, and I can see a very different climate change here at roughly 9,600 feet. Lots of aspen and grass. Here's the very first of the snow of the CDT for the 23 season if you're northbound, and you started May 1st and went at the exact pace that I did. Anyway, it's at about 10,100 feet of elevation on the trail up Mount Taylor, so it's the first and will definitely not be the last. So hopefully I don't bust myself, but the snow up here is very packed out. So I had read all sorts of stuff about post holing and, you know, other, I don't want to say fear mongering, but things that might make people nervous about snow and travel and stuff. But the snow here is super packed out. So if you got off the beaten path, sure, you could post hole, but if you take your time through it and avoid the ice, it's not bad. There's a lot of this dirt mixed in with it. Hailstorm. Even despite the hailstorm that I got caught in here, this campsite is one of the most memorable, beautiful campsites of my entire trip. I had these gorgeous views where there was the rain that had just hit me that was passing through, and I could see rainbows and everything was clearing up and the sun was still shining through. It was amazing. So I found an amazing campsite. So at the bottom of this canyon with switchbacks, which isn't part of the official trail, there's a great water source. But I'm back up at the top on the side with the CDT. See my tent through there, my dinner is rehydrating right now. But there should be a pretty sunset over that ridge over there. But I'm on this little jutting peninsula. So today is the first day in a very long time that there has not been forecasted showers or thunderstorms. And my Garmin InReach weather forecasted 0% chance of rain today. But I'm wearing my rain jacket and getting sprinkled on because that is rain and not 0%. This section was the first section where the desert really struck me as being particularly beautiful. The other parts were definitely enjoyable, but the rock formations that were in here were so unique, and all of the sort of mesas and terrain and colors, it really made me understand why so many people love hiking in the desert. And then the other thing is there's this really famous trail magic called the Camp Oasis that's put on by a hiking club in Albuquerque. And so they did all the proper stuff, got all the permits, and set up this giant like wedding reception tent. And that's the guy that puts it all together. And then they have a whole bunch of water for you across the street by a different trail angel as well. So really cool time. And check these folks out. They're called the Field Trip. It's a family of 4 brothers and their mother, and they are long distance through hiking as a family. So they're doing the CDT this year. The last year they did the Pacific Crest Trail together, and the year before that they threw like the Appalachian Trail together. And the youngest right now, when I took that picture, was 15, and the oldest was 19. So that means that the youngest was 12 when they threw out the Appalachian Trail. So they're from New Hampshire. I would highly recommend looking them up and following them. They do some amazing things. This is one of the braver groups of cows and calves that I've come across. I'm not going to bother them for too long, but I need some of their water over there. Every time I come in and there's this many cows, I start looking around for some that have horns just in case, but it looks like it's fine. It's the morning of the 25th. I'm going into Cuba today for a very short 6-mile Nero, where I'll resupply and then head out back on the trail towards Ghost Ranch. This was home for last night, and I'm in a big cow field just before the road. There's a 6-mile-ish road walk, 5 miles I suppose. So it's the morning of Friday the 26th. I just left Cuba this morning. I was a little nervous leaving Cuba because there were reports of aggressive dogs on the road that leaves town, and a hiker had been bitten less than a week ago. And unfortunately, I did have issues with dogs through there too. I had a Doberman leave its yard and follow me out into the road barking, but it wasn't overly aggressive. There were a whole bunch of dogs in their yards that barked but didn't leave their yards, and the house where the biting had happened had their dogs tethered, so they didn't leave the yard either. So I thought I was in the clear, but about a mile after that there was 3 strays that were pretty aggressive that barked and came towards me, and I had pepper spray on me that I had in my hand, and I almost had to use it. So it was kind of an intimidating exit to the town. So supposedly for years there's been people talking about dog incidents in that stretch, and I almost had one. So please be cautious there if you ever are going through.